is
Big Boss Ben.
Big Boss Ben, and we are the Lone Guys Podcast. And Elon Musk takes a big old foot and shoves it in his mouth. Is going to be one of our topics today. He thinks that we're in the housing bubble. I think that he might want to stick to Twitter, Tesla, and his rocket ships, and his Stardust or whatever he calls those things that go around the planet, and satellites. So Ben, what are our topics today? What are we getting into besides Elon Musk, which we'll dive into here in a second?
So, just give a synopsis.
Yeah.
So, I mean, mostly talking about the current state of the housing market, including the shortage and the actual reality of where we are.
Which is Elon Musk.
Yeah. I mean, it's all kind of based off of what he was saying. And we're kind of going to get into the details of how exactly are we able as mortgage professionals able to help our realtor partners and our clients in this market, and how you can still take advantage and what opportunities are still out there.
What other topics?
So, and then other than that, I mean, we're just going over current mortgage news.
Gotcha.
So,
and then we're going to probably get some Twitter, TikTok, and quotes like we do every episode.
Absolutely.
So what you're going to start seeing from us on the show is we're going to have a list of topics that we're going to talk about, and we're going to get into them. And we're going to keep the show short and sweet to 1 hour, and then we're going to answer questions. So if you have any questions, make sure you put it into the comment section. And if you haven't done it already, bang that red subscribe button, turn on the notifications. Stay tuned for this show, because there is a contest that we're running, and we're going to continue to talk about that contest over and over and over and over. So let's get into it, Ben. What did Elon Musk say?
So started a couple weeks ago. He expanded on it yesterday, which we'll get to. But a couple weeks ago, there was a tweet from a Chen Feng, who is the CEO of BitGo. Which
Chinese
is,
company.
Yep, digital currency company based in China. So the tweet itself said that existing people in houses can't afford to sell. Existing but being renting can't afford to buy. We are stuck in this limbo until the job market crashes and existing people with houses are forced to default on their mortgages, sending the real estate market into the next death spiral.
Is that so? Let me ask you a question. Is he talking about the Chinese?
No, this is on the U.S.
Okay.
Specifically saying on the high cost of buying a home in the U.S. market. He had that quote.
Is that a tweet?
That is a tweet.
Can you send that to Donovan so that when we post this on YouTube, that Zach can go ahead and, or actually send it to both me and Donovan.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure that Zach posts that during this part, because I want people to actually see this.
Yeah. To which Elon Musk responded, tragically accurate.
Okay, then what? There has to be more, right?
Right. I mean, there is. But then going into yesterday, he made some more comments in regards to the current state of the housing market, comparing it to 2008, saying that homeowners are about to see a drastic reality of large decreases in their housing value. He said both for residential and for commercial.
Okay. So before I get into my comments, what I want to do is, Donovan, I sent you an email with a couple of links to some stuff. Can you pull those up real quick so I can see them and I can read them to the people? And then I'm going to have Zach go ahead and post this on here as well, because there seems to be a common theme going on. And this is the first two are from a guy by the name of Patrick Bet-David, who I have a lot of respect for. He's got a podcast, Valuetainment. He owns Valuetainment, which has a podcast. He started PHP, which is an insurance company. He's worth $600-700 million because he sold his insurance company that ended up having 40,000 agents here in the U.S. And cashed out of that. He started Valuetainment, and it's a way for him. He's a big time conservative. It's a way for him to. Well, actually, I don't know if he's conservative. He has more conservative views, but it's a way for him to battle back against wokeism.
Yep.
Which. Great. Anybody who wants to battle back against wokeism or battle for it, and they're starting their own thing, and they're business owners, salute. Even if I don't agree with all your opinions, salute. Here's an opinion of Patrick Beck. We're about to get into the Patrick Bet-David opinion, and it's similar to Elon, and it brings up some questions for me. Are why do all these billionaires who had companies in other industries think that they are qualified to comment on an industry that they've never worked in? And the first one, and we're just going to give Don pull it up, which he is now. It's a graph. And the graph says, I can see there it is. Can you read the graph to us? What the title is?
Yeah, the title says U.S. housing market loses 2.3 trillion in value. Total value of the U.S. residential real estate in year-over-year change.
Okay, so that's the graph. And Patrick Bet David has very openly talked about how he thinks that we're in a housing bubble and that the housing market is going to crash. And then the next thing is another Patrick Bet David post saying the same thing. I think it was from April. And then the next one was an article from MSNBC stating that the real estate investor who shorted subprime mortgages says the housing boom is in a bubble too. Yep. That's the Big Short movie. That guy. So here's what we have. We have Elon Musk coming out and saying this after his buddy from China says it. And I literally got a phone call from somebody after they saw what Elon Musk said and said, should I be under contract on my house? And I said, absolutely. And then you have Patrick Bet David, an insurance guy who, again, respect him and his opinion, but he's off here on the housing market. And then you have the Big Short guy who shorted the last subprime mortgage, which was a completely different situation in 2008, coming out and saying the same thing. And I followed that guy for a little bit, and he's been wrong on other stuff, but he was right on stuff.
Michael Burry?
Yeah, Michael. So he's been wrong on other stuff, but he was right on that, and he's famous because of that movie now. So people are like, oh my God, he was the only one who predicted the housing bubble, and they're right because he dug into it, he saw some stuff, and he did hit that one right, and he made a lot of money by shorting it.
Yeah,
and a lot of people lost their homes, and that's not his fault. But he was right. So here's what I have to say. The first tweet with Elon Musk, it was after somebody from BitGo, a Chinese corporation who probably has pretty close ties to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, is commenting on the housing crisis in America, probably has a slanted view on America and wants to see America falter, whether it's the housing market or the American people or whoever it is. So more than likely, and if you don't believe that the Chinese Communist Party is tied to their businesses there, then you're crazy. Elon has business interests where? In China. And Elon has a history of doing things like this to get tax cuts and everything else. Whereas, what is it, Taiwan? He said there needs to be a reuniting between China and Taiwan. And then a couple of weeks later, he gets a big tax break from the Chinese Communist Party for his Tesla shop over there. So Elon has a history of being in bed with China from a standpoint of, he wants to run and do this free speech and Twitter. I bought Twitter for free speech, but then he wants to go to China where there's no such thing as free speech. If you speak out against the government, they literally kidnap you and you go away for a while, like that professional, I think, tennis player it was. So you have Elon, who I respect what he did with Twitter, but is that real? Or is he trying to cover up for the fact that he's in bed with the Chinese like a lot of the top American businessmen are? I don't know. But he followed up a Chinese Communist Party business and said the U.S. housing bubble needs to happen so that there's inventory. Well, that's just not true. And from China and live in China and run a business in China who is going to be tied to the government in China because they are the Chinese Communist Party, then do me a favor and keep your opinions in China. Here in America, we don't want them because you don't know what you're talking about. And in this instance, Elon, who's a very smart person, I have a hard time believing that Elon Musk truly believes what he's saying because he's way too intelligent. Starlink is the satellites who can provide internet to anywhere in the world. Helped Ukraine by sending satellites over there. You have, what is his rocket company called where he's launching SpaceX, reusable rockets. You have Tesla. He buys Twitter and he's about to turn Twitter profitable. This guy is too intelligent. He was the PayPal founder, right? Like, he's too intelligent.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know Elon was one of the three? Yeah.
No.
That's where he made his original money, and then he took all that money and invested it into Tesla, which he did not found Tesla. He bought it from the investors, the founders, and turned it into what it is today. But long story short, Elon, you're too smart.
Yeah.
Elon, you're too smart. Now, the next quote, what was his next quote?
The next quote, that he warns homeowners about the value of their home. He says that the residential real estate is going to be the next victim of
That's a lie.
The economic downturn.
Commercial real estate will be. Economic won't be.
He mentions commercial as well, but
residential will not be. There's not enough housing.
Right.
It's a supply and demand issue. This is why I think he is too smart. There's something else going on here. Elon is popular enough to where he has millions and millions and millions and millions of people who follow him. So he's just pulling the strings. He's pulling the strings and getting reactions from you and me and Donovan and the working class people. But what he doesn't realize is this stuff is affecting people's lives. There might be somebody who literally isn't going to buy a house because of what Elon Musk said, and Elon Musk is wrong in this situation. You shouldn't comment on stuff like this unless you truly know what you're talking about. Now, the next thing that we got into after that comment, so residential, I disagree with them. I do agree with them on commercial.
Yeah.
The next thing we go into is Patrick Bet-David. Patrick Bet-David saying the same thing too, and I don't think that Patrick Bet-David's pro-USA. Like, he is, like, I'm surprised that he came, cool story, came from Iran when Iran was in, basically war when he was 10 years old. He went to a camp in Germany and ended up coming over here, served in the U.S. military, pro-America guy, which is why I like him. I'm a pro-America guy, but he's wrong here. And this was before he had Barry Habib on his show, so I need to go watch the Barry Habib show that he did. But he is wrong when he says that our residential markets are going to collapse. Maybe in some cities like a Seattle or Denver or some of these
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley. But for the most part in the United States, those are places people are leaving. We don't have enough housing in the country as a whole. So the housing is actually stayed pretty flatline, and losing $2.3 trillion in value in the housing market isn't as much as people would think.
Right.
That's not a huge loss. That's not 20%. If we lost 20% if we lost 20%, we're talking 100 trillion. Am I wrong on that? It has to be close, right?
Right.
50 to 100 trillion, somewhere in that mark. So 2.3 trillion is like a 1% dip, which is a very cyclical thing in real estate, and it typically happens from January through basically mid-April, end of March, mid-April, and then housing values start coming back up. Because why? Because people are buying when their kids are no longer in school, and the busiest season for us is mortgage people and real estate agents is typically summertime. So from Memorial Day to Labor Day, right?
Right.
So I don't think that he understands this. Very smart guy, built a very, very good business, is building another good business, and will continue to build good businesses. But I don't think that he understands that. And so there's this common theme. And then you have MSNBC article, which we talked about, the Big Short guy. He is wrong too. This isn't 2008. There's not bad mortgage-backed securities. There's not something that you can predict the bubble in. He's wrong too. Donovan, can you shut this door for me? Joe, one of our loan officers, likes to yell when he's on the phone. He thinks that everyone he's talking to is Helen Keller. No, and she was deaf and blind.
Donovan, I have a question for you too. That article on Michael Murray, when is that dated?
April of this year.
Okay. So he's back and forth because he came out with that in January saying all that.
Is that April of this year? It's the MSNBC article. Yeah, so I think it's April of this year because I looked at the date. So he's back and forth. I think he's just trying to grab headlines. What? Wrong year? Oh, 2021. Okay, because that popped up first on Google.
But he came up and said the same thing in January of this year. And then I think it was in March or early April. He came back and took it back and said, I was wrong. The housing market is stable.
Good. Respect.
This year.
Salute to him. But anyways, what I'm getting into is we have a bunch of people commenting on mortgage and real estate. And this leads us into our topic of the inventory shortage. We talked about this before. 1.9 million new household formations, new families that need homes. We talked about how there's going to be like 1.4 million, just over 1.4 million new build completions.
Right.
That's an issue. That's a $500,000 or 500,000 homes shortage. Here's the other issue. There's 3 million more families, 3.5 million more documented families here in America than there were in 2017. And that doesn't count the border, which illegal immigrants are rushing across at record numbers, right?
Right.
And not a shot at illegal immigrants. I'd want to leave your country too. But America's great, and that just proves it. But we can document 3 million to 3.5 million more people here since 2017. Undocumented people, there's probably more like 5 million.
Right.
So if we have 3.5 to 5 million more people, houses aren't being built at the same amount. We have a $500,000 house shortage when it comes to new household completions compared to household formations. Why would the real estate market crash?
So what I've been hearing a lot of in terms of that, and a lot of the naysayers are people saying, oh, well, look at the supply chains. They're finally catching up. Homes are finally going to be built. Like the shortage isn't going to last. But what you have to think about and what we've been hearing from a lot of our builder partners is their cash flow. Where are the builders going to get the money to build that many all at once?
Like, and they're not going to.
They're not. It's going to take years
3
for
to
them
5 years
for them to catch up. Like this is not something that's going to change overnight. We are in a shortage. We are going to stay in a shortage. And I brought that up, like the Michael Murray piece, because these are people like him in particular is someone who is making an educated assumption, essentially, based off of trends in the market and what he is thinking is going to go. He doesn't know. He was right once. He doesn't know. He will be the first to admit that, and he admitted that he was wrong. However, it doesn't stop MSNBC in this case and these mainstream news to post that and go viral because they want the clicks.
An article from 2021, and they fooled me. Gotcha, Nick. Like they
Right.
did. They fooled me. Why would that be the first thing that showed up on Google?
Because it still applies in this market. Someone sees it, they go, oh, I'm going to click on it. They're still going to get the ad revenue.
Right.
That is why that's there. It's not there to pass along and help educate their viewers and their readers on what the actual situation with the housing market is. They are taking something made by an economist and an investor who was making an educated assumption like that. I'm sure that's what he thought. He has since corrected himself, but they are trying to run with it and spin it to make money. Like at the end of the day, that is what they're there for. So whenever you're doing research, do your due diligence. I mean, look at you. In this day and age, you have all sorts of other media formats to get news.
Look at YouTube.
Look at look at different sources of information. Actually make your own opinions. Have a conversation with people.
I do think commercial real estate is going to get crushed in certain markets.
I do too.
Like LA, San Francisco,
in a lot of
Seattle,
markets.
And the Seattle housing market's getting hit too. And that goes back to the policies there. We talked about this on the show back in February. The policy there is this: no police. Things are getting destroyed. There's Seattle business owners coming out all the time saying we got homeless people who are addicted to drugs, feasting on, the founder of Cash App gets stabbed in San Francisco. And these are all the cities that push the defund the police narrative, right? And here's the deal is, me as a libertarian, I would love some anarchy.
Right.
But you still have to have a police force to have a safe society, right?
Right.
So these policies, and it's starting to swing back, man. You can already see the extremism is kind of going away, and the silent majority, which are people in the middle, are actually starting to stand up and say, okay, enough is enough. Whether they're Democrat or Republican, if they are in that middle ground, which 80% of the people are sick of it. People are sick of the crazy news stories. People are sick of the crime. So, but it's too late because those cities have already pushed people out with their high taxes, their high crime. Why am I going to go to New York City, San Francisco, Denver, Colorado, Seattle, Washington, even Los Angeles, California? Why would I go there, pay 50-something% of my income, the money I earn, to the state, and then have to worry about getting mugged or a homeless person taking a shit on my business's doorstep? I'm not going to go there. And you're going to see commercial and residential get crushed in those places. But you come south, you go to Texas, you go to Arizona, you go to Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, booming housing markets, right?
Right.
And if you look at the overall country, booming housing market because of the shortage. So I think that those stories going to be more wrong. I think that it's clickbait. I think with Elon, he's too smart to think that, right? So if he's as smart as he is, and he is very smart based on everything he's done and just so he's saying this from a chess standpoint. There's a reason he's saying what he's saying.
I mean, and he has a history of manipulating markets too. I mean, you look back at the whole GameStop thing. Like, did he really think GameStop was that good of an investment? Or does he know that if he puts the right information in the right places, what the market's going to do in reaction to that? Because he knows that. I mean, he is that smart.
Well, Peter Thiel is the same way. Peter Thiel caused the SVP bank run.
Yeah.
Or SVB, not SVP. But Peter Thiel caused that bank run. He's somebody who has a big enough following where that can happen.
Right.
Especially for him in Silicon Valley. He caused it by his comments. He came out and he said something, and were they on weak ground? Yes. And he tells everybody, startups to remove their money, and it created a bank run. And JP Morgan Chase called and probably cut him $100,000. Like, because they bought the bank up, and they're buying the furniture that is still worth value,
right?
So it's I don't like it. I don't like when they do that. But I would probably do the same thing if I had millions of people following me. I'd be like, yo, go buy some XRP. And for all you who don't know, I'm investing in XRP. This is a show that is meant for entertainment value, and we talk about mortgage and business and real estate. And
This is not financial
this
advice.
is not financial advice, but I think XRP is a great point from a, yeah. So great,
Yeah.
great coin. Look it up.
I mean, right. Like, look, we are mortgage professionals. We know mortgages.
You want to know what else we know? You should bang that red subscribe button and you should turn on your notifications because guess what? We are doing a giveaway. It's going to be a $1,000 giveaway, and it's going to be either in cash, American dollars, which is still 76% of the world reserve currency, or Bitcoin, which is decentralized. Those both hold value. So if you want to win $1,000, all you have to do is bang our red subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and leave a comment on our videos on our YouTube channel. And after the comment, put your Instagram handle. Here's the deal, though. You need to actually leave a comment with substance. Comment on what we're talking about. Don't just say, hey, great video, bro. That won't get you an entry. The more substance and the more entries of substance you have across our multiple videos, more entries into the $1,000. That giveaway is going to be on September 1st. So be sure to bang that red subscribe button and turn on notifications. Ben, back to you. What's the next topic?
So, well, like I was saying too, like why we do it, we're mortgage professionals. We're not giving out financial advice. We are giving our opinions. We are creating a discussion. So when you leave that comment, leave a good comment. Let's have a discussion.
Yeah, especially if you disagree with us. Like
absolutely.
All my TikTok people.
Like that is how that, like, we're not sitting here telling you an article from 2021, making it look like it's the factual data, like factual news of right now. Like, no, we don't do that. We are here presenting our opinions, wanting to hear your opinions, have a discussion, and move forward and help educate everyone on the financial standing of
you
our
want to know what I want to
country.
Do?
What?
I want people to understand that we practice what we preach.
We do.
We practice what we preach. And what do we preach?
I mean, what?
What do you mean, what? You don't know what we preach?
We preach a lot.
What is the number one thing for us?
Competition.
No. Building wealth through real estate.
Right.
Comprehensive real estate plan.
Right.
You think that's more so than competition?
I mean, I think a lot of what we says goes back to how competition is a benefit.
Yeah, in the overall grand scheme of things. But our motto as MBI Financial Group is building wealth through real estate.
Correct, yes.
Comprehensive real estate plan, something nobody else
Correct.
does. What's the comprehensive real estate plan?
What the comprehensive real estate plan is, that is a method that will allow you, so it allows the everyday man to build wealth. Like when you go to the stock market, invest in the stock market, you look at what these millionaires are doing. They're putting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars into these investments. Not many people can do that. Very few percentage of the country can do that. But how are you, how are I, how are all of us able to build wealth? Well, there's something called a mortgage, which you can spread out payments over 30 years with minimal down payments, all sorts of different options depending on your circumstances. We will help you with a plan that will keep you in good financial shape. We will take your current situation into account and have a plan that allows you to buy a hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of assets that is a home.
Right. And then somebody else is going to rent that home from you, pay off the mortgage that you borrowed the money on. And is it going to be easy? Probably not. Are there going to be hiccups? There probably are. Should you buy a rental property if you're broke as hell? Probably not. But if you work with us, we come up with a comprehensive real estate plan to show you how to get into 6 investment properties. So step 1 is to buy a primary residence. Step 2 is 1 investment property per year with a 20% down payment for the next 6 years.
Right.
And then after you get to that, so after 7 years, we're going to show you how to take those properties and pay them off within 14 years.
Right.
So it's a 21-year retirement plan. And that's what I tell people. This is to add to your retirement. This is to build wealth. This is to build wealth for your family. And here's the other thing. People get on landlords all the time. Oh, this landlord isn't good. This is this, this is that. Well, guess what? You have the opportunity to change the reputation of somebody who's a landlord and actually be a caring landlord in these properties because people need a place to live and not everyone's going to own a home.
And be a benefit to your community.
Correct. And keep your houses up and clean and all that good stuff. Now, one of the things I always get when I have this conversation with people and people ask, are you practicing what you preach? Are we practicing what we preach?
We are.
Do you own a primary residence?
I do.
Do I?
You do.
Do we own 3 rental properties?
We do.
Huh. Weird. And we're practicing. practicing what we preach. And we believe in what we preach so much that we bought all 3 properties when?
I mean, within the last
3 months.
6, yeah.
No, it's 3
Since
months.
first one was
Oh
January.
yeah, no. The first one was November, but
No.
yeah. So
Yeah.
So the first one was November.
6 months.
And here's the deal. And what I want to talk about is we believe in building a comprehensive real estate plan, and this is a benefit to our realtor partners as well. Donovan, this is a benefit to our realtor partners. Here's why. Do you know the average person moves once every 7 years? So if you're a realtor, your repeat clientele is going to be once every 7 years. So if Ben was just a normal person and not big brained like he is, and if he had a realtor, and we'll say it's maybe Carolina, one of the realtors who sold you your house, she can expect you to move primary residence on average 7, sometimes 11 years. So she'll deal with you twice every 7 years. Well, if you work with MBI Financial Group, you know what we do? We preach a comprehensive real estate plan that 25 to 30% of our clients want to do. So instead of dealing with Ben once every 7 to 11 years, she now gets Ben his primary residence. Next year, she's doing investment property. The year after that, 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 investment property. And then the year after that, investment property. So over the next 7 years, instead of having 2 transactions, 1, 2, she has 7 transactions. And at that point, Ben's ready to do what? He's ready to upgrade his primary to a different primary. Now she's on 8 transactions, and Ben now owns 8 properties because he was smart enough to rent out his primary and not sell it, and he put somebody in it. And guess what? At that point, we're reducing the time it takes for you to pay off that. And Ben, the client, is now going to have millions of dollars in assets when he goes to retire. He can do something, again, not financial advice, like maybe sell all those properties, put it in an IRA, collect it as an 8% in retirement.
Correct.
And that's a lot of money. Or he can keep getting the cash flow, put it into a business, put his kids as part owners of the business so that when he passes away, now they aren't having to pay a death tax. Boom.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like at the end of the day, like think what investors look at when they look at buying a home too, especially in this day and age with the current market. They don't go, their first question is not what's my interest rate. Their first question is what's the payment and what can I bring into the property?
Well, let me ask you a question. If you're a realtor, and I just told you how you can get 8 properties over the next 8 years with us compared to if you went to just a retail lender, like Movement Mortgage, they're not doing this. Bank of America, they're not doing this. Wells Fargo, they're not doing this. PMS isn't doing this.
Because it's transactional.
They're transactional. They care about the right now and the money right now, and that's not what we care about. No. We care about that so little that we've even gotten clients into lower interest rates to where they won't be ready to refinance for a longer period of time, which costs us a transaction, but it earns us a client for life because we believe in clients for life. And if you're a realtor, why wouldn't you want to work with us? We average 15 days clear to close, right? And we're going to get you more transactions. Oh, by the way, do you know what else we do, Donovan? This is the great part about being us. We're the best in the business. We are the premier mortgage broker here in the Carolinas and soon to be America, soon to be Carolinas and Georgia. We're the premier mortgage broker.
Yeah.
And the great thing about being the premier mortgage broker is not only are we fighting for working class Americans because that's what people should do. Do you think Wells Fargo is? No. Bank of America? No. Multi-million-dollar company, Movement Mortgage? No. But they do some good charity stuff, so shout out to them for that. But their prices are pretty high. Interest rate and closing costs and so on and so forth. Every deal I go up against Movement, I win because their pricing and their lack of communication.
Yeah.
So
I've heard that
every deal I win is because the client's not getting the call back. Imagine that. You have somebody who's going to bring you business and you don't call them back. Shout out Movement Mortgage. But anyway, that's not Donovan. I see you laughing. Can you tell me why you're laughing at that comment?
No reason. You're getting started, I'm sure.
Well, here's the deal. The reason I shout them out is because they like that. That's a win for me. Like, so essentially they're just moving their client to me. So thank you, Movement. I appreciate the business. So anyways, long story short, other people aren't preaching that. So if you're a realtor and you work with Movement, they're not preaching that. So you're not picking up 8 transactions from 30% of the clients. But the other piece is one of the things that I noticed, and this is with our loan officers as well, y'all are afraid to be direct and ask for business, right?
It's a common theme, yeah.
It's a common theme across the industry.
Yeah.
I have to really tell people to ask for business. One of the things that I'm really good at is being uncomfortable. I actually am uncomfortable when I'm comfortable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm okay asking for business. So I get more deals closed from a conversion standpoint than a lot of other people. And then we have Joe who's doing that now. We have a couple. You're starting to do that now, and people are starting to see the light. Like, why is Nick doing $5 to $7 million a month, and I can't get a million, right? Oh, he's asking for business. He's providing value. He's doing mortgage coach. He's doing this. He's all this stuff that we're doing. We also do. I do a mastermind challenge with all my realtor partners to bring in more business, 3 to 5 transactions. But the other thing I do, and this is a payoff right now type of thing for the realtor. If Donovan was one of my realtor partners' clients and he closed on the home, I'm going to say, hey, Donovan, I need 3 names of family or friends that live here in the Carolinas. Maybe here even locally. And you'd be like, oh, okay, well, what's their phone numbers? Okay, do they own homes? Yeah, so-and-so does, this one doesn't, this one does it. Okay, great. Can you let them know I'm going to be calling them over the next week and discuss just home ownership, even if they aren't ready for home ownership? I'm just going to have a conversation with them about the benefits of home ownership because I believe in working class Americans having a primary residence. Well, those 3 names you gave me, the realtor partner of mine that you closed with, that you bought your house with, those 3 names go under my realtor partner's name, right? So if those 3 people aren't ready to purchase, guess what? When they are, it's going to the realtor partner. But you know what I do when I talk to those 3 people?
What?
I ask them for 3 names. So 3 turns into 9. And then 9 turns into 27. And now that realtor partner has 27 names attached to their name that if they ever do business with us, they're getting a transaction. Name another lender that's doing that. I'll wait. That was crickets because there isn't one.
Well, but the beauty of doing that and doing this was called a mortgage mastermind is it takes.
No, it's not.
What?
It's called the Mastermind Challenge.
Well, okay.
That's what it's called. It's called the Mastermind Challenge.
Okay, the Mastermind Challenge.
And it actually has its own T-shirt. And the T-shirt is like a light gold, and the letters are blocky black letters with a white outline. And it's the Mastermind Challenge.
I have not seen that T-shirt.
Because I created it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, seriously, I do a lot of work at home. I don't tell you guys everything.
But the beauty of it is looking in today's age, and this is the second topic that we're going to get into. So before we get to that, though, reminder to make sure you subscribe to this video, hit the like button, and click that notification bell so you are notified of all future videos.
Why should I?
Well, because, I mean, maybe not because they don't want to see you. So,
you were supposed to tell them about the $1,000 giveaway. God, you blew that one. Tell them about the $1,000 giveaway, Benny.
Make sure you leave a comment and leave a constructive comment. Let's have a discussion, and you will be entered into a contest for a $1,000 giveaway. That will be $1,000 paid through either U.S. dollars or is it Bitcoin?
Bitcoin
or some sort of crypto.
No,
major
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
It's just Bitcoin or cash.
Okay, Bitcoin or cash. Yeah, let's get the discussion started. And while you're at it too, make sure to follow us on all social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. Yeah, so
that's everything. And our personal channels, which you need to change one of yours to Big Boss Ben because it's not. But what's the next topic, Benny?
So the next topic is on what you just brought up. On how are you able to take advantage of this current market where there is a shortage on houses? There's not a lot out there. We are seeing a ton of clients out there who want to buy a home, have a full qualification done, fully underwritten qualification done for them, but they haven't found their home yet. It's a tough market to find a home. But how are we able to help with that on our side of things? Well, right now, sellers are afraid to sell because right now they're sitting at a 3% interest rate right now. They don't want to go to a higher interest rate. They're looking at that, and that interest rate alone is scaring them away from selling their home and looking at buying a new home. A lot of people in the early 2000s, when things were flying off the market, rushed to buy a home. They didn't actually get the home that they wanted. Like, they didn't get their dream home. They got a home because they thought they had to just grab the first one they could. Because that was the state of the market at that time. Things were going off before they were even listed officially. So right now there's people who probably want to buy, upgrade their house, move to a different house. They are just scared of that payment difference. What we are able to do, some, not everyone.
Some also have a little bit of gun shyness because, and this is a study that just came out, a little bit of gun shyness because they felt like when the real estate market was booming 2 to 3 years ago, everyone was buying. There was no inventory, and everyone felt like they were missing out, so they rushed into homes, and some of them don't have enough bedrooms that are long and more things. So they're a little bit gun shy to pull the trigger. It's not just payment. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not.
Well, welcome. You're welcome. I educated you. So
right now, turn times on selling a home though it's long days now.
That's still
Last I
unhealthy.
saw,
That's
16
that's unhealthy in the short range. The average days for a healthy market should be 36 days on market.
right.
So that's unhealthy.
But it still is, but it's not 4 days, whatever what it was before.
Right, but that 16 days is not long.
Yeah, it's still not long. But
And if you're in the Carolinas, it's like 5 days, maybe.
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy. We're having
it's
20,
crazy right
21 bids. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to add that piece about some people are gun shy and they do need a bigger home. They have more kids. There's a life event that happens.
right.
And then they're also worried about, like you said, the higher payment because of interest rate. So let's get into a little bit of what you.
But
what
right, and that's what kind of started explaining earlier is the most important part is not it is not your interest rate. I repeat, the most important part of your finances is not your interest rate. It is your overall cash flow. It is your overall payment in all forms of debt. Because right now the biggest benefit that all homeowners have is the amount of equity that they made in the 2020 and 2021. That is a large amount of equity that's available.
You sound like my sales meeting.
You are able to put yourself in a great financial position if you speak with a mortgage professional like us, and go over your options. Look at how much equity you have. Look at what your payment would be, what you were able to do with the extra equity that you earned, that you could do by paying off these credit cards at the 13 to 15% interest rates. Like you talk about getting gouged, like that is what is hurting you financially.
Can I say it in a working class American language, because you are super smart?
Oh,
So by cash flow, what Ben means is more money in your pocket.
right.
Right. So don't look at the interest rate of the new home. Look at what your cash flow is going to be. And you're probably screaming at me, Nick, you're so stupid. TikTok, I see you. Nick, you're so stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. If the interest rate's higher, your cash flow is going to be lower. Well, not necessarily, because since Ben and I have been in this industry, which is going on 13 years now, this is the highest consumer debt has ever been,
Yes.
meaning credit cards have ever been, car payments have ever been. And this is also the most amount of equity that's ever been in a home.
Exactly.
So if you are looking to upgrade and you have debt, you need to come to us, because what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to use that to sell your home, use that equity, and you're going to use that equity to pay off some of your debts and then some on down payment, and then you're not going to get back into consumer debt, and you're actually going to have more cash flow, so your monthly payments are going to go down. So if you add up your mortgage, your credit cards, your car payment, all that, you're going to use your equity to consolidate that, pay it off, never do that again. And then you're going to get into a home and you're going to actually have less monthly payments total coming out of pocket, even though your housing payment is probably going to be higher than your previous housing payment.
Right.
And then you will have more money in your pocket. So what you're then going to do with that money is we're going to create a comprehensive real estate plan for you. And then we're going to show you how to create even more cash flow through real estate. If you want to do that, it's not for everybody, but it's for people who like mailbox money. So anyways, and that doesn't mean it's easy money. It just means it comes in the mail. So that's what Ben meant in a very smart way. And how can we benefit realtors? Can I tell them, or do you want to?
Why don't you go for it, and then we'll get into some questions right after.
Great. So do you have questions for me?
No. I meant sorry. I meant comments and questions on
Gotcha. So
comments.
this is how we benefit realtors, right?
Yeah.
So to all my listing agents out there, we have this conversation with your clients. So if you're going out and you have past clients and they want to list a home, I will go ahead and personally talk to them. I will look at their finances and we will put together a mortgage plan. So, okay, here's your mortgage. Here's your equity. Here's your personal debt. You want a different home? You want more bedrooms? Oh, this is how much it's going to cost you? Okay. Well, this is how much the payment would be on that. We're going to take this much equity. We're going to pay this off. Then we're going to put the down payment here. And then we're going to go ahead and have less monthly payment. And now you're in a bigger home. And listing agent, guess what you have now? You have a listing. And buyer's agent, guess what we have? Inventory on the market. Look at that. NBI Financial Group is solving world problems, or at least United States problems. China wishes
at least our community, the Carolinas.
At least our community. And hopefully we have some people outside of the Carolinas that are watching this. And I know there's some people like PMS watching this here in the Carolinas that are probably going to copy every word that we're saying. So shout out to you, because imitation is the best form of flattery. But yeah, that's how we can help our agents as well.
Yeah.
And I know how else we can help our agents? We can help get them more buyers through our Mastermind Challenge. Gold t-shirt, black block lettering, like almost like Mario colors with the little white around it. Oh, I love it. And we should put just like a little NBI logo right here. So, and that will go to everybody who completes Mastermind Challenge, and they'll pick up 3 to 5 new buyers, and then we'll get with the listing agents, and guess what they'll do?
What?
They'll pick up 3 to 5 new listings, and it is a merry-go-round. That sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? Like, hey, even in this environment, we can help people. Hey, even in this environment, I'm having the biggest month over month over month over month over month. We are dominating here at NBI Financial Group. We're the best in the business, and this is why you need to do business with us, whether you're a realtor or a client. We're going to put you in the best situation. You're also going to get a sweet mortgage coach from me, and we're just going to dominate at all kinds of levels. So, Donovan,
let's hear
it's a shorter episode today.
Comments.
I'm pretty tied up. So before we do this, I want everybody to do me a favor. Bang that red subscribe button and turn on your notifications. If you don't have your notifications on, you better turn them on, because guess what? We're giving away $1,000. The only thing you have to do for this $1,000 giveaway is make a comment of substance with your Instagram handle following it in the comment section on one of our YouTube videos. So it can't be just a great video, dude. It has to be actually something about the video. Start a conversation, ask us a question, tell us we're wrong. We want to communicate with you. Not all of you. Some of you kind of stink. But the rest of you, we want to communicate with you. So bang the subscribe button, turn on notifications, leave a comment of substance with your Instagram handle behind it. You will be, for every one of those comments that you have on different videos, you will be entered into a contest to win $1,000 in cash or Bitcoin. We're giving it away on September 1st, but you have to be subscribed and you have to make a comment, and the notifications have to be on. While I'm at it, go follow us on all social media channels, NBI Financial Group. Follow Ben, his personal, Big Boss Ben, and he has one to change. And then you can follow me. I'm Mortgage Man Nick. And Donovan's doing the great job of getting Mortgage Man Nick fired up, because I'm giving him all this sweet content, like me cooking pork butt. People love that one, by the way. He puts some great reels up. And you get me. Donovan, why don't you say you get me uncut on that, on my personal, more so than NBI Financial Group?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's cussing on my personal page. Don't tell my mom. But Donovan, what do you got?
Sure she knows.
Well, I have some questions before we get into it. I wanted to ask, like, what's a really good way for you guys to reach out, or what's a good way for realtors to get in contact with, like, mortgage brokers? Like, what's a good way for you guys to, like, combine your worlds? Because I know that you have to work together, essentially, right?
Yeah, we work together.
Right.
So we reach out typically to realtors.
Okay.
But if realtors want to reach out to us, they can call me at 980-263-7274, or they can call Ben.
980-402-2866.
Yes, and we are currently licensed in North and South Carolina, and we'll be in Georgia next month. And then the other piece is they can email him at ben@nbifinancialgroup.com, or email me, Nick, at nbifinancialgroup.com. And if loan officers want to come work with us, we haven't gotten into why we're the best for loan officers, but we are the best for loan officers. We create the most top producers out of any company in the country. Same thing. Reach out to us. We'll have a conversation. We are bringing on loan officers, and we're bringing on more processors. We have a processor 1 role and a processor 2 role that will be posted on my LinkedIn before Friday is over. With job descriptions, we are hiring probably 2 more processors. So we are hiring right now where the rest of the industry is shrinking and quivering in fear. We fear no man. We're warriors.
Are you guys willing to sit down with, like, other realtors to have them come on the podcast?
Anybody who wants to come on the podcast, if they want to discuss anything, they can tell me I'm ugly. I would love to have a conversation with them. They can tell me how my comprehensive real estate plan won't work. They can tell me how they're building wealth through real estate. If they have investment properties, if it's somebody who's not even a realtor, it could be anybody. If you have something to do with mortgage or real estate, or if you just disagree with our opinion and you have data to back it up when it comes to the housing bubble, I would love to have that conversation. I'm not sitting here saying we're always right. What I am doing is I'm sitting here saying we are the best in the business at what we do, and I don't trust those big names to be actually telling the truth, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that they're lying on purpose. It's just I don't trust it. Now, if you have the data to back up why we're in a bubble and you want to talk about that, I'll talk to you. If you want to come on here and tell me how you built Airbnb investment properties and you're making $30,000 a month, I'll talk to you. If you want to come on here and tell me how you house hacked, because we house hacked on a few houses,
right?
I will talk to you. I think we, and we're adding guests, Donovan. Like, we're adding another episode a week. I want that to be purely for guests. I want it to be a guest format where we are talking to the guest and it's just a conversation. Now, I've talked to several people who are willing to come on the show. They don't have huge followings, but they're somebody. You know what I mean? One of them did a lot of seller financing deals, realtor in Texas, because we just bought a property in Texas. Um, and so she said she would come on. But here's the deal: we're not doing Zoom, we're not doing Teams. It's going to be in person. And for everyone who comes into this office, it's really hot in here, so bring some water. I wish they would turn the AC down, but we don't control it on our side; it's the other side. So
Yeah. All right. Pretty cool. I saw a tweet on Twitter. Sorry. But the president, he announced that annual inflation has been nearly cut in half from its peak last year. We're making continued progress of lowering costs for families.
yes.
How does that fall over into your industry?
So inflation is the reason that interest rates are high. So the Fed tried to
Right.
hike the interest rate or the Fed funds rate, which dictates bond trading, and bond trading dictates interest rates.
Right.
So they hike those rates, which will cause interest rates to go up. Um, and with inflation falling, and the president in this situation is right, inflation is down. And I'm glad that he can see forward thinking, unlike the Fed, who keeps continuing to hike rates. But maybe he can put some pressure on the Fed to stop doing the quarter, and maybe even reduce the Fed fund rate. But I do agree, he's right. I don't know if he did anything, unless he's saying he's the Fed, but the Fed is separate from the government. So are you admitting that you work together?
I mean, some people are saying like groceries have skyrocketed, property taxes have skyrocketed, Medicare went up, all of these things.
Agreed.
They have
So they're right.
everything.
But what they don't understand is inflation isn't, the prices, inflation's been cut in half. The prices went back to what they were. No, the prices of goods stopped rising as fast, right? So we'll never get back to what we were pre 2021. Maybe we will if something bad happens, but that would be called deflation. So the Fed wants a 2 to 3%, somewhere in that range, inflation every single year on prices. So they actually want prices to go up. They just don't want them to go up as fast as they were. So what happened was they went up a lot from 2020 to 2021, then to 2021 to 2022, and it's a year over year. It's a month over month rolling average. So if it went up, let's say it went up in January, from December to January, it went up 12%. Like prices went up 12%. We'll call it 12% inflation. This is just examples. And then it stayed even in February. They're going to say inflation's starting to come down because it's December fell off, right? So they don't talk about how the prices were 12% lower in December. They just talk about, the prices from February to January, they didn't increase. So inflation, we stopped inflation, but the prices are still they're not what they were in December. They're what they were in January. They just aren't rising as fast.
Are you saying like property taxes go up each year too? Or would that depend?
So property taxes would have gone up if they had an assessment done on their property.
So that's part of why we've been saying that they need to make the changes already for months now. So because there's something called shelter inflation, because a lot of the numbers are lagged. Because, for example, you brought up taxes. Taxes are reassessed annually. So they're going to change on a 1-year basis based off of the county and state and city, whoever's the specific tax is for. But so you're looking at right now, we're reassessing for 2022. We're going off of year-old numbers. Inflation over that 12 months was a large amount. Even though it's on the decline now, it's over a 12-month period.
Right. So they're going off the previous year, and so they're going off your house value,
right?
What they deem your house to be worth. And now the tax value is typically lower than what the actual value of the house is.
Right.
But what they're going off of is, okay, so the reason their taxes would have increased is because, say, in 2020, their taxes went, their house was worth $239. Then we had this big real estate thing that caused appreciation and so on and so forth. Like housing prices went up by 50% in a lot of cases. Well, now they're being reassessed on that higher value, and they're saying, well, the houses in this neighborhood are worth 50% more money, so is yours. So we're going to make you pay a tax on the value of your home that's now 50% higher. Now, hopefully people understand this and realize, like, hey, taxation is not always a great thing, because this is bullshit. I bought a house on these numbers, and now I'm paying X amount of dollars in monthly taxes. I know somebody in upstate New York, where I grew up, who has a paid in full house but still has to pay $1,000 a month in taxes.
I want to ask, it may be a stupid question, but I want to ask, would you say it's better to own the land or the home? Because if you own the land, wouldn't the property tax for the land be higher, or no? or would it be kind of even out?
Mm-mm.
Well, is there a home on the land?
Or would you have to pay both if you own the land and then the home?
Well, it's all one.
Okay, so it'd be all one price.
So like if you own a house
Right.
that sits on land, like you own the land the house sits on.
Yeah.
In most cases, and you need to do your research if you're not in North or South Carolina, but some places have like mineral rights under the ground, so you won't own to a certain depth. But you got to look into that stuff. But
Right.
anyways, long story short, the house sits on this property,
Right.
and that's not a goose. There it is, the house.
Yeah.
So the house is sitting on this property. Right. This property and the house, that's all tied into one value,
Okay,
and that's what they're taxing you on. Now, little fun fact: what you can do if you own a bunch of land, like so, say you own all this land, right, and the house sits on all that land, parcel the house off so that the land is separate from the house, and now that new parcel, which is just the house and just this much land instead of this much land, that you're taxed. That's going to be a higher value, so you're going to be taxed more on that piece, but the rest of the land, you'll be taxed at a land tax, which is a lot less. Agriculture, it's almost like an exemption. It's an exemption, so you'll be taxed a lot less on that. But you still own that land. You just parceled it off from the house, so they're two separate things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Genius.
The more you know.
Yeah, I don't know how I learned all this stuff.
Research. Someone said, why can't home ownership be given away for free? Why can't we treat housing as a human right? On TikTok.
Oh man, they probably live in their mama's basement. Oh man. I'm gonna let you tackle this one, Ben, because I have a lot of thoughts. Well, here's the first thing. Housing is not a universal right. I don't think people have a right to housing. That is going to be extremely controversial on the TikTok. But I want people to hear this. When you are born, you are not born with a shelter over your head. If you go back to the very first humans, they had to learn how to create their shelter. So if you look at history, that's not a natural born right necessarily, in my opinion, right? You have to learn throughout the history of human beings, Homo sapiens, they had to learn how to build shelter. It's not a universal right, and nothing is free. So who is paying for that free housing? So if you just gave everyone a house for free, who's going to pay for it?
Who's going to pay the construction workers, I guess, right?
Who's going to pay the construction workers? Who's going to pay for the upkeep of the house? Who's going to pay for just everything? Like the whole, it costs money to create something.
And then you also start getting rid of people's incentive to work, to build things. All of a sudden, you don't have people aren't working. Why would you work if you don't have to? If you have everything you need to live for free.
Right.
And I mean, if everyone is going to have equal housing, like there's not enough land too. Like, so I mean, you're not going to be able to work to provide.
You don't think there's enough land? I think there's more than enough land for everybody to have a house. I just don't think that. I don't think it's a right. I think you have. I think it's a necessity in life, but I do not think it's a right. I think you have to earn it. Now there's programs and stuff that help.
Absolutely.
But what would happen is you're taking away, like you said, the incentive, and there is a cost to that. Somebody covered the cost of that. So if everybody got a house, there's less incentive to work, so there's less tax revenue. So where's the money coming from to create those houses?
Exactly.
I mean, like you said, who's going to keep up with the house? Like who's going to take care of it? And,
whose responsibility is that?
You're not. Right. I mean, communities are going to fall apart. I mean, it really would. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum in terms of rent control. Like
that's very similar to rent control. That thought.
Right. What it leads to is communities falling apart because people end up not working, businesses fall into disarray. The people who actually want to work end up not having jobs because of that. And how are you going to do anything? Like everything falls apart. Like we all need each other working as a community to live. And if we don't have the incentive to do that, like no one can live.
Well, and also here's the deal, back to the housing piece. That person might not be someone living in their mama's basement, so I apologize for saying that because I do think it's a very thought-provoking question. You talk about natural born rights and something you just automatically have. Read the question one more time for me.
The question about the
housing.
Yeah, they were just making a statement. They were saying that
because I have a point I think I'm going to compare it to.
They stated, why can't it be given away for free? Why not? Why can't we treat housing as a human right?
Okay, so we treat gun ownership as a human right, correct?
Correct.
The right to bear arms. It's Second Amendment.
Depends on the state.
No, it's every state. It's a human right. Now, there's certain municipalities who don't let you you have to go through a string process.
Right.
But they don't give guns away for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can be a right, but it doesn't mean it's free. Like, does that make sense? So that's kind of, what I would compare it to there. But yeah, it all goes back to, you can't give housing away for free to everybody, because that's a very socialist or
Correct. I mean,
that's a
'cause-
Russian idea. Like,
well, and on the
communism
other
has
side,
similar
like
ideas.
people aren't going to buy it. Like there's going to be no landlords. No one would buy it if you can't
The government would be.
charge rent. Correct. I mean, essentially everything would be government paid. And I mean, it doesn't.
And where's the government getting their money from? So let me ask you a question. So if you were given a house and needed, let me reverse the question, right? So let's just say, okay, this person has a point, and in America, we decide to just give houses away to everybody. And so everybody has a house. Well, those are going to be government funded houses. Well, with government funded houses, somebody has to pay for those houses. So it's going to be, and the government is then going to dictate what you do for a living, because the government is then going to have to operate as a business and make money, right? Outside of just taking tax revenue. So that means the government is going to tell you what type of job you have to do in order to be able to keep that house. That's what people are looking towards. So my question back to the person would be, if it was given away for free, would you be okay with the government dictating what type of work you did and you having no say? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking about that movie that they have those factions. Like, you know what I'm talking about? It's like a movie where they have different factions where the government sorts people out and tell them what they have to do for a living and
Right.
things like that. So
Well,
that'd probably be like that.
It would be. They should look up
What is
Soviet
that?
Union.
The Hunger Games?
Yeah, Hunger
Where they
Games.
ended up putting people in an arena and killing each other?
I
Like,
mean,
that's what we're striving for.
No, it would be very similar to an extent, right? So you can look up that we've done this in history. The Soviet Union, how'd that work out?
Right. It doesn't. Like,
Socialist countries, communist countries, that's what they do. The government owns everything. Everything is given to the people. They have their basic necessities, but you're also told this is what you have to do every single day, and if you don't, we're going to shoot you in the head. And that's the truth. They literally kill people. So here in America, we have the freedom to do what we want, right? And we're not a socialist country. I would call us a mixed economy. We have some social programs, but we are based on capitalism. All the communist and socialist countries who want to be successful, guess what they have? Features of capitalism in their economy, like China.
yes.
So to answer the question, no, it can't be given away for free. If it is given away for free, you're going to have to do what the government tells you, even if you don't want to do that. And if you don't do it, they will shoot you in the head. Like, that's just what it is. So no, I don't think it should be given away for free. Also, I'm going to tell this person that there's nothing like the satisfaction of earning something, whether it's a paycheck or whether you're getting paychecks, saving up, and then putting a down payment on a house and buying a house. You earned it. That is a satisfaction. So
I agree. The next topic is the 40-year mortgage.
It's not real.
Yeah. Some people say get a 40-year mortgage and then pay it like it's 15 when you're able. Somebody said I would love the option for a 40-year mortgage, but then there was someone else who said, yeah, I'll just take a 40-year option because the houses are $250K plus now, and it's going to take me about until I'm in my 40s to get that kind of shit.
I don't
pay
think
it
it
off.
will.
You think so?
Where's that person live?
Who knows?
Is it on TikTok?
It's on TikTok.
I'm gonna message them, ask them where they live, because we might be able to help with that. You don't need $250K to buy a house.
Correct.
You need 0% down payment plus closing costs. If you have a good realtor, they can negotiate closing costs. You can technically own a house for not putting any money down. Would I suggest it? It's up to the person, but we will give you the payments and pitfalls and interest rates. But let's call it FHA 3.5% down. So 3.5%, $250,000 is what you actually need. There is no such thing as a 40-year mortgage. The 40-year mortgage that they're talking about it's actually a modification if you can't pay your payment, and it does very little. But the one thing I did agree with was if you have a 30-year mortgage, when you're able to pay it like a 15 and pay it off faster.
Absolutely. And it gives you the flexibility. If something happens, I saw something on social media too, and it was like, it was saying what Dave Ramsey never tells you. is what it said. Now, Dave Ramsey says a lot of good things, but at this point, he's like, if you have a 15-year and you lose your job, what do you do? The fact that I could have gotten a 30-year mortgage, paid it like a 15, and had the flexibility to fall off of and give myself more of a cushion while I move into my next job and try to find my next job.
Well, Dave Ramsey says to have
6 months reserves and
more than that if you can, which should cover you to find a new job. There's enough jobs available right now that you should be able to get something to survive while you're looking for something else. That's called life. Dave Ramsey's on our side where there's not a housing bubble, by the way. Dave Ramsey agrees with us.
They've called you guys Dave Ramsey minions on TikTok a couple of times, by the way.
Dave Ramsey minions?
Yeah, and on YouTube.
I mean,
Dave Ramsey would not like what we're saying.
No,
because Dave Ramsey,
maybe a certain clip they didn't watch.
Dave Ramsey wants 20% down when you buy a home. Like, we're saying that you have the option to do that now, and we're saying that a 30-year mortgage can be a good investment. Like,
Dave Ramsey would see what we were saying and his head would explode. He would call us stupid.
Right.
And he calls a lot of people stupid, but he would definitely call us stupid, even though I don't think we are. I think that we are preaching to a different clientele. He's preaching to people who lack self-control, and we're preaching to people who need to get into a primary residence. That last question was the 40 versus 30, and you went off onto saying something, and we mentioned paying it off like a 15.
Yeah.
I actually have a different argument than that.
I was going to say we talked about it before.
Yeah, so I don't think that you should pay it off as a 30, as a 15. I think you should carry the debt, and then the extra money that you can afford to pay for that, I think you should actually take that money and put it into other investments that create cash flow. Comprehensive real estate plan preaches this. Get into a 30-year. Don't pay the 30-year off. Save the extra money, put it into a bank account, take that extra money, buy a rental property that is cash flowing so that you're creating cash flow. Then take that extra money and continue to take that, and you can get to 6 houses pretty quickly.
I mean, it's essentially watching your cash flow so that you can make that excess money work for you.
Right. And
watching your monthly payments.
Right. So I don't think that you should pay it off quicker.
Yeah, that was what we talked about. People were saying, like, it's no point. You don't receive anything for paying it off in advance. You kind of just waste your own money. But you're saying just basically have it, put it to the side, but take the extra money that you
save it for a down payment on another property to rent it out.
And look, I mean, if you're someone dead set, I don't want to buy an investment property for whatever reason. Like, I mean, it's still better than spending it on nothing.
Right.
Have a budget, watch your spending, put it towards your financial goals. Because maybe that is your financial goal. I don't want any sort of mortgage. That's my foremost priority. I'm personally against rental properties. We would have that discussion because I personally think rental property is a great idea, but
well, not everybody can do a rental property.
True.
Not everybody can handle the stress of a dishwasher breaking and getting fixed.
But at the end of the day, it's having a long-term goal, and that's a great tool to meet that goal. If your goal is I want to own my primary home and that's it, and I want to pay it off as quick as possible.
Well, if your goal is I want to have the most relaxing life I can possibly have.
Yeah.
I'm asking, what would you do in that case? Ben said, yeah, like it was a yes or no question.
I mean, I would do a 30-year and pay it like a 15.
Right.
If I had that income and financial
I would do what Dave Ramsey talks about. I would
Right.
have zero debt. I would work a job. I would pay all my bills off as quickly as possible. My mortgage I would pay off in full. I would pay my cars off, any credit card. I would do the Dave Ramsey plan, and then I would figure out what it is I want to do, because you still have to do something, because there's going to be still food bills and energy bills and gas bill and electric bill, cell phone. So you're still going to have some stuff, and I would create a budget to where I could live very simplistically, and I can just relax and not have to go out and make much money. That is a life for some people, but the life for other people is, I want to go on a cruise with my family. I want to go on family vacations. I want to create memories with my family. That stuff all costs money, right? So you need to increase your cash flow. So it's, and we talk about this all the time. Gain a skill of value that's going to pay you more than minimum wage. It just is what it is. And
do you guys believe in? I know that we talk about investing in like properties, but what about investing in like certain companies and businesses? Like like certain places you can like pay towards, I guess, like certain businesses, like maybe like a local McDonald's or a local.
So I don't know anything about that.
Right.
I would say do your research.
Right.
If that's what you're interested in and that you're going to create cash flow, then you can do it. Right. It's the same thing that we talked about with Elon Musk. He commented on something he doesn't know about.
Right.
I'm not going to comment on something I don't know about. What I'm going to say is do your research. If it can make you money, there's a lot of things in this life that can make you money. Do it. Like I'm invested heavily in Bitcoin. I'm invested heavily in XRP, right? I'm invested heavily in properties. I don't have a 401k because I don't know enough about it, and I don't like that.
I'm going to say this. Elon Musk lives in a tiny home on SpaceX property. Like, and he's over here talking about financial, like he's a residential real estate investor.
But what do you think
I'm
about,
sure he owns some sort of residential homes, but
let's not go off on a tangent on Elon. We talked about him. What do you think about what that guy said or girl said, or whatever the pronoun is? It gets confusing now, man.
What was it again?
Well, just investing in general, but investing in like businesses.
I mean, I think it's always great to diversify, but like Nick said, I mean, do your research as well. I mean, essentially buying stock is investing in businesses, right? When you buy stock, you are buying a certain percentage of that business, too. So, I mean, it kind of falls in with that, but it also is going to cost money. Part of why we are talking about real estate is the benefit that it can provide is its minimal down payment.
It's also what we know.
Right. And it's also everyone has to pay a house. Yeah, I mean, first, it is what we know, but it's also everyone has to pay a housing expense, whether it's rent or whatever. Someone is paying for where you live.
Unless you're homeless.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, someone is paying for where you live, and then the government is. But someone is paying for where you live. And like it is a necessity. So why not have that money that you're paying work for you? Why not have that be your investment?
Right.
That's the benefit of real estate. Now, is it going to have like these $1 million investments that may getting into business at the right time would? I mean, no, but at the same time, like it is why not? Like I don't understand the reason.
Because it's
why not
for it won't make sense to you because it's for you.
Yeah.
But it's for everybody. And I understand that. It's why only 25 to 30% of our people talk to us about the comprehensive real estate plan. They want a primary residence, but they don't want a comprehensive real estate plan. They want to go to their job. They want to invest their money in their 401k so that they have retirement. Maybe some of them do a Roth IRA. Maybe some of them are in stock. Maybe some of them are cryptocurrency people. Different strokes for different folks. My stroke just so happens to be real estate.
Yeah, I agree. So you're not trying to please everybody. So.
No, and I'm not. But I am trying to let people know, like, this is an option, and this is a great time to buy, even with a higher interest rate environment. And there's a lot of stuff that we can do that others aren't doing. We're doing what maybe 20% of the industry is doing, maybe 10% of the industry is doing, as far as the comprehensive real estate plan, as far as the total cost analysis. What we are doing, only top producers do. Period. And the reason they're top producers is because they're providing value and not rate. And we're providing value, not rate. Period. Well, folks, that's all I have. I'm Nick.
Ben.
And I am Hey, Donovan, can you come back on the mic real quick?
Yeah.
Ben has some of the most awkward transitions.
I'm not mad at him.
I ain't mad at him, but like I ask him a question that's not a yes or no question. He's just like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was exactly what we just talked about.
Okay.
I thought you just said.
Anyways, that's enough. This is Big Boss Ben. I'm Mortgage Man Nick. Go and follow us on our personal, and don't forget to bang the red subscribe button, turn on the notifications. We're giving away $1,000. All you have to do is subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a comment on our videos. The comment has to have our Instagram handle behind it, your Instagram handle behind it. The more comments of substance, it can't just be like great video, bro. The more comments of substance across different videos that we post on our YouTube channel, the more entries you have to win $1,000 in Bitcoin or $1,000 in cash to giveaways on September 1st. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, bang the red subscribe button.